let's look at acrylic. Acrylic paint is a new type of fast-drying paint made of pigment suspended in acrylic polymer emulsion. It is used a lot now. It was invented in the 1950s. This acrylic paint has several characteristics. Firstly, it's water-soluble and easy to wash. Secondly, it dries easily within a few minutes after it's drawn. Unlike oil paint, which takes hours or days to dry when it's painted too thickly, or when the weather is not good, acrylic paint dries quite easily. This kind of paint loses its solubility shortly after colored. There's no way to blend the colors on paper, unlike oil paints which can be mixed on paper or on clothes. Acrylic paint is hard to do that because it dries so fast. And also, acrylic is the same as rubber. It sometimes peels off easily, but the color has a strong saturation. It can be very garish and colorful without any sense of dirty or gray. In addition, just like oil paint, it can be thick and grainy enough to show thick shadows under the light. And like watercolor, as we mentioned before, it can also be thin enough for the water to run down. It is diverse and varied. Because of its flexibility, acrylic is now commonly used in our daily lives or in our paintings, and this acrylic pigment is granular with coarse or fine particles, so it provides a lot of convenience when it comes to painting. We sometimes use acrylic paint for the base or the texture to get the kind of effect we want, such as modeling or particles, so acrylic has a lot of advantages. The other one is the one we're seeing now. There is a green piece. It is very subtle. It is drawn in a very even way. A piece like this doesn't actually have much character in the way of acrylic because it didn't take advantage of the quality. For example, it can be very thick or very light and watery. These qualities are not used. It's just drawn realistically, slowly, and evenly. But it can express the artistic concept of drawing like this one. It feels peaceful, like inside a fairy tale. This one is done in a dry painting style. We can see some dry strokes or texture on the work. It actually did some blue on some parts first, and then covered with white. When it's overlaid, the picture has a transparent bottom effect. The creator must have waited for the colors to dry before doing the effects. The white was added after the blue is dried, but the colors which were intervened in were relatively thin and dry. So we'll see the colors below. Acrylic paint can sometimes have the same effect as oil pastel. It is an interfering effect that colors are overlapping with each other. This acrylic paint is drawn very evenly, like the large piece of red we're seeing now is in a very even state. It can be painted with a grainy texture feeling or be applied flat. This one is painted in completely thin colors. We can see traces like watercolors inside. There are some signs of standing water at the edge line, and then it doesn't get dirty easily like watercolors. So although there's something black or gray in the picture, it is not dirty but relaxed. And we think it's a natural leftover from the wall. The acrylic closely reproduced it, which is the greatest feature of this material. It can be dry or wet, or thick or thin. And then this piece is the same. It has both thick and thin parts and also uses the overlapping and transparent method. Some parts of it take advantage of the color of the paper itself, which is yellow. It is not fully covered with the paint. Some areas are exposed. The result is that we can feel the effect of the strokes and see the old or vintage quality of the paint. And we can see some of the animals' bodies has greenish stuff on top. It is really a very thin overlay of colors that shows up underneath to form the effect. So the picture will seem rich because the thick and thin treatment in this picture is very good. This is a great advantage of acrylic paint.